Hello, and welcome to Mindfulness Practice with Paul today. Looking forward to spending some time with you and do some practicing. And we're going to begin with our mindful smile. After the mindful smile, we'll do about 2 minutes of mindful breathing. And then after the mindful breathing, I'll do a short introduction to today's 8-minute mindfulness practice. And then after the practice, if there's some time, we can do some Q&A, some questions and answers. And if you want to make comments, I'll be happy to address those. So let's start our engines and start them by doing our 15-second mindful smile. So it's smiling as big as possible and then body scanning at the same time. In other words, noticing what's happening to your body, thoughts, emotions, and breath while we're smiling. So here we go, big smile. And just noticing how that smile affects you in the present moment. And now, shifting gears, we're going to move over to our mindful breath. So taking a comfortable position, and we can do this in any position. Sitting is what most people do, but standing, walking, lying down, that's all fine. I like to encourage creativity and imagination when doing the practice of mindfulness. So also, you can keep your eyes open, closed, or glancing down, and we'll begin the mindful breath by assuming the posture and the attitude of alert attention, which is what mindfulness is all about, and also self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is a big deal. We want to just accept who we are in this moment. And then bringing our attention to the breath, we're going to connect to the body, which is the doorway into the present moment. We're going to connect to the body with our breathing. So breathing in and out through the nose. We do the nose breathing because it's what our nervous system likes. It reduces the stress, takes us out of the stress mode simply by breathing naturally in and out through the nose. Breathing. If it helps you to name what we're doing every once in a while, silently to yourself, we can do that as well. That's why every once in a while I just say breathing, because I'm naming what we're doing. And noticing when the attention wanders. Where does it go to? Maybe it goes to a thought or an emotion or a physical sensation. Taking note of that, coming back to the breath. Each time we come and go, we've done a repetition very similar to building a muscle. Each repetition builds that muscle. So the coming and going, an important part of the practice. As we breathe, fully present with the breath, fully experiencing each in-breath and out-breath cycle. Noticing the lower abdomen, which is where the breath begins, and noticing how the breath rolls up into the torso, up into the shoulders, and then back down again. Breathing, experiencing that breath as it is in the present moment. Just a natural breath. Bringing the attention back to the breath when it wanders, taking note of where it goes to, coming back, coming and going, coming and going, building that muscle. And now finishing the breath by opening the eyes, continuing to mindfully breathe with the eyes open, building that bridge between meditation practice and everyday activity. Eyes are open, continuing to breathe. Okay. And so for today's practice, by popular demand, I've had a lot of requests for this. We're going to do some mindful movement. This is a very, very popular mindfulness practice. Traditionally, a lot of people think of a combination of movement and meditation using the form of Tai Chi. But you don't necessarily have to be doing Tai Chi in order to be practicing mindfulness, meditation, and movement together. You can use any kind of movement you want. It could be yoga, it could be walking, it could be running, hiking, anything that you want to do. And so it's an important part of developing your own personal mindfulness practice. So we'll warm up by doing a short mindfulness meditation, connecting to the body, and then we'll move into some very simple movements and combining that with that present moment awareness. It'll be meditation and movement, really creating that seamless flow between our meditation practice and movement, which we all do all day long. So it's a great way of bringing mindfulness into our everyday life so that we get the opportunity to experience the present moment 24/7. And so now, bringing the attention to the body, eyes open or closed or looking down, and then moving the attention around the body. Exploring the body, taking inventory, what's there and what's not. And what I mean by that is, are you noticing areas of comfort in the body or areas of discomfort? And perhaps neutral, in which case maybe it feels like that part of the body isn't even there. But the neutral is a big deal too. We want to notice what's neutral, what's comfortable, and what's uncomfortable. So in any particular order that you like, moving the attention from one part of the body to the other, including all the different parts. staying with the body. When the attention wanders off, coming back to those physical sensations of the body, or lack of physical sensations, but just staying connected to the body. That's where the present moment is, and that's where we reduce stress. That's the key, staying connected to the body. And now expanding the field of attention to include a sense of the entire body, using your creativity and imagination to create this experience in your own way. Perhaps combining the breath with the body as a whole, whatever works best for you. So opening up that field of attention so that it includes the entire body. Sensing the body. Maybe noticing your level of energy today. Any way that you can sense the body that works for you. There we go. All right, and now moving into some very simple mindful movements. We can do this while sitting in the chair. Of course, you can do it standing as well. And you'll see that the way we do mindful movement is exactly the same as how we do mindfulness meditation, only we're moving at the same time. We're going to want to keep our eyes open with this, particularly if we do balancing exercises, which we're really not going to do today. But balancing exercises become much more difficult usually when we close our eyes. Do an experiment and see what I mean by that. But let's start our movement practice by simply stretching out the neck muscles. And so just gently turning the head left and right and keeping the attention in the area of the neck. Noticing when the attention wanders away from the sensations of the neck stretching, and then just bringing it back. Also, staying within your range of motion. We don't want to overdo the movements. I always like to stay within the range of motion and let the body open up in its own time, at its own pace, so we're not forcing anything. Staying present with this neck movement, remembering to breathe. There is a tendency when we are doing some kind of movement exercise to hold the breath, particularly in yoga. When we hold a particular posture, there's also this tendency to hold the breath. So we want to remember to breathe while we're doing this. And coming back to neutral. And now another neck exercise, just tilting the head back and forth. You'll notice that you're using different muscles here. And feeling the stretch in the neck muscles right into the trapezius, the shoulder muscles. Continuing to stay present with the neck, we want to really focus in on what the neck is experiencing. Just connecting to the body, to the present moment, by experiencing the physical sensations as we stretch the neck in this way. Staying within that range of motion, keeping the attention right here, coming back as many times as you need to. Building up that mindful muscle. And now we're going to go diagonally. So pointing the head to 11 o'clock, and then 5 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 7 o'clock. And then we'll do a few cycles of that. We want to stretch out those neck muscles in a balanced way. And if we do this, this sort of completes the cycle. Feeling that stretch, staying present, fully embodied. And then coming back to our neutral position. Staying with the breath, checking in with the breath. Next movement, let's do some shoulder rolls. So just rolling the shoulders forward, bringing them up and back and down, and following your own rhythm there. As we loosen up the shoulders. And once again, remembering to breathe. You might want to coordinate your breath with your shoulder movements. That's always fun to do. Breathing in, shoulders up. Breathing out, shoulders down. Or the reverse, whatever you want to do there. And now the other direction. Just feeling those shoulders move, noticing your range of motion with the shoulders, staying within that range so we don't hurt ourselves, listening to what the body tells us. It's one of the many reasons to be present, so we can pick up the messages from the body. It's constantly giving us messages through those many feedback loops. And then coming to a stop, checking in with the breath, mindful breath, breathing. And next exercise, arms are straight out to the side. Right arm, just turning it backwards. Left arm, turning it forward. So left arm looks like that. Right arm looks like that. And they're in different directions. And then reversing everything. Just, we're going to wring out the muscles here. There's a theory in Eastern medicine where if you wring out the muscles like this, you're getting rid of the bad energy and making room for the good energy. This is one of the exercises I do when I warm up for Tai Chi. So just back and forth, wringing out those muscles, coming back to neutral, and then twisting both arms backward now. So it looks like this, and like this, and just feeling the wringing out, the stretching there, and then twisting them forward like that, wringing out the muscles, staying present with that particular experience, and then coming back to neutral, returning to the breath, breathing. And so that's mindful movement. Of course, there's no limit to the way we can do mindful movements. You can apply that to everything. And it's a great practice. It's a great way of bridging that formal meditation practice into our everyday activity, so that we have that seamless transition that I'm always talking about, and we don't fall into the trap of just being excellent meditators, but then it falls apart when we stop meditation and we go back into our daily activity. So that's the reason that we build that seamless transition, because a lot of people do fall into that trap of overemphasizing the formal practice of mindfulness meditation. All right, so at this point, let's do a short Q&A. Anybody want to make a comment or have a question to ask? Now would be the time to do it. All right, there's a good question. Why don't I include in my definition of mindfulness the quality of being non-judgmental? Yes, the quintessential definition of mindfulness that's come down over the years, principally from Jon Kabat-Zinn, who really popularized secular mindfulness with his 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction program. He defines it as paying attention moment by moment on purpose in a non-judgmental way. And I used to use that definition. I don't really use it anymore. Or if I do, I give an explanation. And the reason that I don't use it, and when I do, I give an explanation, is because I discovered that a lot of the people in my classes, when they discovered that they weren't practicing non-judgmentally, they thought that they were failing, that they weren't doing the practice right, because there was plenty of judgment coming up when they were doing their practices, their meditation practices, and their daily activity practices as well. And so what I realized that I needed to do was to give an explanation of this non-judgmental quality of mindfulness. And the reality of the non-judgmental quality in the practice of mindfulness is that it's a quality that comes with time. It comes with practice. And the way to bring about that experience of being non-judgmental in life is by being present with judgment when it's there. Judgment really comes from fear. And so as we're coming out of the stress mode, out of the fight or flight mode, and the fear is beginning to abate, what we notice is that our judgment is also beginning to abate. And so gradually with practice, we become non-judgmental as the fear goes away. In the meantime, we don't want to pretend to be non-judgmental. We want to just sit there with the judgment. And once again, if you want to name it, like so many people do, it's helpful. You can say, oh, well, there's judgment coming up, and there's judgment coming up. So yes, being non-judgmental is a byproduct of the practice, but it's certainly not there in the beginning. And over a period of time, being judgmental will decrease. The non-judgmental relationship that you have with yourself and life will increase. Fear will decrease as we reconnect to the body. Body likes it when we're connected to it, and it knows when we're connected to it. So that's the whole point of the mindfulness. So we're paying attention moment by moment on purpose to the body, thoughts, the emotions, and the breath. Why? Because we want to reconnect to the body, because it knows what's happening with us. It doesn't like it. It's uncomfortable for the body when it senses that we're not there. And it gets scared. It keeps us into that stress mode. But then when we reconnect, it also senses that we're reconnecting. It becomes more comfortable, takes us out of the fear mode, and there we go. We're in the present moment. We're back in balance, and we're on our way to experiencing these flow states and exploring our human potential. So that's all the time we have today for Q&A. Sorry, we went a little bit over today, but I'll look forward to being with all of you next Tuesday, and we'll finish up with our 15-second mindful smile. So here we go, 15 seconds, big smile. Staying present with the body as we're smiling. Big smile. Letting those endorphins release. All those little muscles around the mouth getting exercise, releasing those feel-good chemicals, and being present with how the body likes that. All righty, so it was great being with you today, and I'll look forward to being with you again next week, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Arizona time. See you then. Have a mindful weekend. Bye-bye.